Okay, today I'm going to be demonstrating how to make chocolate chip cookies. I use a recipe that I found on bakerbetty.com. It's one of my favorite recipes to use, and everybody loves it. So what I did is I went ahead and I preheated my oven to 350 degrees. And I already got all of my ingredients all set up for us. I'm gonna go ahead and add 14 tablespoons of softened butter. It's better to use the stick butter because when it cools, it'll harden and it'll make it easy so that way when your cookies bake, they won't flatten as you cook them. They'll stay nice and fluffy. I like to use a stand mixer as opposed to the hand mixer because it frees up my hands, so I know I don't have to constantly be stopping my mixing to go ahead and add more ingredients. So the first step is to cream the 14 tablespoons of butter with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and 3/4 cups of white granulated sugar. So I'm going to get that started. So you cream it on about a medium speed. Once that gets nice and mixed together, we can add the next ingredients. You only let it mix for about 1 minute because you don't want to mix it so much that air gets into the dough. Next, I'm going to add some vanilla. This is 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. If you want, you can also use pure vanilla extract as well. And then 2 eggs at room temperature. You're going to add them each one at a time. If you get a shell in your batter, what you can do to get the shell pieces out, I've found the easiest way is to get your finger wet because it'll allow the shell piece to stick to your finger better. Alright, we're going to incorporate this really well. And every once in a while you want to take a break and scrape the sides off so that way everything gets mixed in. Otherwise, you're going to have different consistencies in your cookie dough. So while this is mixing, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step. The next step is to take 2 1/4 cups of flour and you'll sift it with 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt. Unfortunately, I don't have a sifter, so what you can do in place is to go ahead and just mix it all up together and get it nice and fluffy. And then once all that's mixed up, you'll gradually add it to your wet mixture. The good thing about the stand mixer is it comes with this guard, so you can set this right here and you won't get that kickback of the flour mixture when you're adding your flour in. So you add in a little bit at a time. Try not to spill it all over the place like I do sometimes. So just a little bit of background about me. I've been cooking since I was about 10 years old. We used to bake cookies every year for Christmas, and I love baking the cookies, and nobody else in my family really baked any other time of the year other than holidays. So I started learning how to cook on my own using recipes that I'd find online. So Once all of this is, you've added the flour mixture, you'll go ahead and fold in the, let me speed this up a little bit. Once the flour mixture is added, you'll fold in 2 cups of chocolate chips. You can use dark chocolate chips, semi-sweet, or even milk chocolate chips. I use the semi-sweet. I'm using the semi-sweet today, but I normally use the milk chocolate chips. So now this is nice and mixed together. You can go ahead and pull it off of the paddle. Okay. So after you have mixed all this together, what you'll do is you'll go ahead and refrigerate it for about an hour. And once the dough is set, you'll bake the cookies. So I've already got a product that's already finished. This is what it'll look like. It'll be nice and hard. That way the cookies won't spread when they cook. So you'll space them out about 1 to 2 inches between each cookie. You can fit about 8 cookies on a sheet, and you'll cook them for approximately 10 to 12 minutes depending on your oven. You want to check them every once in a while and make sure they're golden brown around the edges a little bit. You don't want them to overcook them, otherwise they're not going to be nice and fluffy in the middle. They'll be a lot harder, they won't be soft. But I did cook some up earlier, and this is the finished product. One motto I live by is, it is one of my favorite sayings, eating is a necessity, but cooking is an art. Hope you guys enjoyed cookies. Yay!